Hi, here with the CEOs of Spectiv, Dylan Center
How you
to the
doing?
left, and then you have Nick Ravenbash to the right. Very cool
Hi
names.
guys.
All right, so we're here to talk about the upcoming ICO, virtual reality related. That's awesome. Go ahead and give us the rundown.
Yeah, basically, Spective, we're creating a virtual reality streaming platform. Essentially, it's going to be kind of like the YouTube of virtual reality, except that it's going to be specifically focused on streaming virtual reality content, basic just streams of whatever kind of content people might be recording with their 360 cameras. Our vision is to basically make VR simple, relatable, and approachable for everyone. Right now, the space is kind of in a weird mix where, hardware is kind of expensive, and then at the same time, people don't really know where great content is. So we essentially want to create a dedicated platform where people can go to basically use their VR headsets to watch virtual reality 360 content.
Okay, that's cool. Almost like what, like I want to say like a YouTube for virtual reality, but something like where they can just go and get content virtual reality on demand, basically.
Right,
Right, like in the same way that Twitch is the dedicated platform
Okay,
essentially for
perfect.
gaming, we are doing the same thing for virtual reality.
Very cool. Very cool.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And so basically, like to give you an idea, kind of how that's going to work,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to have all different kinds of content contributions on the platform, and that can range from all different kinds of things. So, for example, it could be somebody who is, running around in Japan or India or Italy just from their home, and they've got a 360 camera, and they're going around like all the exciting like places that are local to them.
Mm-hmm.
But then someone in the United States can watch that with their virtual reality headset and kind of feel that person's perspective in virtual reality. On the other hand, we're also going to look into different things like live event streaming, so sports events, and then also concerts and basically any kind of virtual reality productions. But we want to start out by building a big community around virtual reality, and we think that the best way for us to do that is to put a big focus on the user-generated content.
No, that's amazing. You're gonna have the user generating content, but you're also gonna have content that the team creates, the Spective team.
Eventually,
Okay.
yeah, it's definitely something that is in the plans. After we establish the platform, build a strong user base on the platform, eventually start producing original content. It'll be something that we will be able to do. Also, if our capital allows us to expend on that project. But it's not something that we're going to be doing initially. I mean, in the same way that YouTube has started YouTube Red
Mm-hmm.
after all these years, it'll be something that we'll be looking at doing kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and to kind of like speak more in detail to that, one content creator who we currently have a partnership with is AirPano, among a few other partners that we already have. And AirPano makes some of the most top-notch 4K virtual reality content where they're basically doing flyovers of all different places in the world. Now, they're an awesome content creator, and basically the way that Spective original content might go is that eventually we've got kind of like some capital stowed away and such, and based on like votes from the community, we would do it in kind of a decentralized situation where people can maybe have a say in content that they would like to see, and then we as Spective would essentially just kind of, to a certain degree, partner with people like AirPano and other virtual reality producers to give people the content that they want. But it's going to be something kind of far into the future. Right now, we're focused specifically on just platform development.
Okay, that's cool. It's so basically like almost like Periscope then virtual reality. It's pretty cool. You can
Yeah.
like show your life. That's about as cool as it gets. Yeah, that's what drove me to this project because virtual reality is what I believe is going to be the next boom. So
Yeah.
this is absolutely awesome, absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, go ahead and touch on basically the upcoming ICO if you want to.
Okay. So right now the ICO, we have some announcements coming out. They'll be coming out this week. But we actually just spoke with our new, I guess, ICO advising group called Sutton Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Two of our advisors are Adam and James, and they are the two founders of Sutton Stone. And so they have just been working on Salt Lending recently, building up their ICO for them and advising them on all the legal aspects of it, things like that. And so now we're partnering with them here in Houston, and they'll be running our ICO. With all of that said, in order for us to achieve and complete all the legal requirements, which I'll touch on that a little bit in a little bit. It's a unique situation that we're actually doing there. But anyways, in order to do all that, our timeline is expanding. So right now the ICO is currently scheduled for August 14th. It's going to be pushed back somewhere into mid-September. And again, we're going to make an official announcement on that and with exact dates. But yeah, we're going to be pushing back till mid-September, where we'll launch a pre-sale, and then official crowd sale will launch sometime towards the end of October.
Okay, cool, excellent.
And in terms of like pricing and such, Signal tokens are the token that is going to be sold in the crowd sale. They are going to be sold for basically 50 cents each, with certain bonuses applied based on when you're able to get into the crowd sale and participate in it. The earlier you participate, the more bonus you're able to receive.
Okay, excellent. That is very cool. So yeah, you guys want to maybe talk about yourselves, why you got into this type of project?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's really, this is kind of, it started out as Dylan's baby. He's been, playing around with this idea since like, I want to say early 2015.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah, it's just something that he always found cool, and he always really was excited about the future of virtual reality. We've been working together for years now. We used to work we have a side project that, we're kind of diverting away from a bit as we focus more on Spectiv, but basically it was a technology company, Sensitech, a smart materials technology that's basically used to monitor the structural integrity of concrete structures. If anyone's curious about it, you can go ahead and Google it. It's Sensitech, Sensytec. It's a really cool technology, funded for $2.5 million by the Department of Energy. We went out and did a bunch of business plan competitions together nationally. We won several, and obviously, grew pretty close through that, and maintained a big relationship and friendship even following that. And so, anyway, getting back to it, he'd always been talking to me about this kind of virtual reality thing, and it wasn't until like this most recent Christmas that I was actually, having a white elephant Christmas party with my friends. If you're familiar with the white elephant, basically people just come and they bring gifts and they exchange them, and everybody leaves with a certain gift. So ultimately, I went to Walmart to go and pick up a gift. I had no idea what I was going to get, but everybody said keep it cheap, doesn't have to be anything more than $20. And I saw the mobile-powered virtual reality headsets that they had there, and so I said, okay, this seems cool. It's $15. I got the headset, brought it to the party. Long story short, we opened it up, and everybody was really excited to use it. This was like 12 people, and we were all about to have our first virtual reality experience. And so we put on the headset, and played some videos that we had found on YouTube that were virtual reality integrated. And to be completely honest with you, we were pretty underwhelmed. It was just some really kind of mediocre roller coaster videos and just whatever had been uploaded at that point. And it really turned a lot of us off of virtual reality. It was kind of disappointing, from that point forward. I just kind of left the headset in the corner of my room, and that was the end of that. And then recently, or I want to say a few months ago, Dylan found these really cool virtual reality videos. It was actually Air Pano, as I was mentioning to you earlier, where they were doing these flyovers of different places in different countries all over the world. He said, Nick, you got to check this out. It's really high quality. It's really awesome. And I was like, okay, let's see what it is. So I played it on my phone, put it on my headset, and just kind of sat in on the Air Pano experience, and I was blown away. I was like, what is this? I can't believe this, because I paid $15 for the headset. The Air Pano video was free, and I was really experiencing immersive, good virtual reality at home, and it was awesome. And so from that point forward, I was like, man, this really is the future. Like, there's going to be so many things that happen once this kind of gets adopted. The problem, though, is that there's kind of a dissonance in the adoption, in that right now a lot of people are very intimidated by the industry. They hear people talk about virtual reality and they see different videos and whatever they see through kind of popular media, but people don't really want to touch it as much as they could. That's because you've got Oculus Rift and HTC Vive headsets priced really high, and people not necessarily knowing what they would do with those headsets if they went out and bought them. Now, with the introduction of mobile-powered VR headsets, you're beginning to see people kind of more readily, get their feet wet in this virtual reality industry, which we think presents a major opportunity for the services and platforms that are developed around virtual reality. And so we're basically, you know, making it our mission to create a platform that gives substance to these headsets and kind of just creates a virtual reality destination, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So I just want to add something to what Nick was saying, just because it kind of falls in line with what our mission is for our platform. You know, so as Nick was mentioning, his first virtual reality experience was underwhelming for him, and I think a lot of people's virtual reality experiences are actually rather underwhelming. The number one selling headsets are mobile headsets by far. I mean, tenfold people have mobile headsets over something like an Oculus Rift. And if the first content that they start watching is just some random content that they find somewhere, there's a very good chance it is going to be a poor quality video, very pixelated as you move around, things like that. And somebody watching that is probably not going to use virtual reality again. I mean, at least for the immediate future. Well, my first virtual reality experience was actually with an Oculus Rift. It was at a convention, and there's a very large company in the oil and gas industry while we were working with SenseTech. And so I put on the Oculus Rift, and we were like diving undersea, exploring an undersea oil well. And I mean, it was extremely high quality, like graphics and stuff. I mean, it probably cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to develop this in-app video for the Rift. Anyways, so my first experience was a wow experience, and it opened up my eyes and made me think, you know what, this is the future. Like 100%, this is the future. And I think that's the real difference between if you can create a wow experience for a user as their first experience in virtual reality, there's a much greater chance that we'll be able to attain them as a customer and then retain them and have them continuing to use the platform. So one of our missions, and it's actually one of the reasons why we're implementing cryptos in the first place, is to deliver high quality content to users as their first experience in VR. And hopefully that gives them that wow experience that makes them truly understand the power that VR has and brings them to the platform to continue using it.
Okay, wow, that's super exciting. It's basically going to be like the home for VR. This is going to get a lot of people involved that wouldn't have gotten involved before. Like you said, it's very intimidating. I know what that's like. And when you get it, what do you do with it? There's not like a hub, as you guys mentioned. So this is perfect. This is really, really cool, exciting. Anything else you wanted to add, talk about that didn't?
Let's talk about the token.
Yeah, to tell you guys a little bit more about the token that we actually are developing around the platform. Basically, the token, and I guess also another thing I kind of want to talk about before we go is the set in stone. But anyway, talking about the token. So in developing this platform, obviously there were many challenges that we saw happening over the future of the development. The number one challenge that we saw with developing a virtual reality platform is, are we going to be able to drive and retain a user base? Because right now virtual reality it's in the fringes. You know what I mean? It's not mainstream adopted right now. As we were mentioning, a lot of people are intimidated, etc. So we said, what can we do to really bring virtual reality out of the fringes and into the mainstream where people actually are adopting it on a large scale? And so basically, we kind of saw the examples that have been set by Steemit with the Steam token and then also the basic attention token, where you've got these tokens coming in and they're basically disrupting attention markets. Now, to kind of go into this a little bit more in detail, the fundamental layers of attention markets go kind of like this. You've got a content creator on YouTube. That would be basically like the person who makes the video and uploads it. Then you have the viewer. That's the person who pays attention to that video. And then third, you have advertisers. Advertisers are basically the party that is willing to pay the content creator for a share of their attention because they want that viewer attention. Now, traditionally, that's basically been the way it's gone. You know, you have content creators who are developing really high quality content. They drive a bunch of viewers because they like what they produce. And then you have advertisers who pay content creators for some of the attention that they're driving. However, over the past, several years, you've had major kind of developments in the internet and technology where now there is a huge, overwhelming influx of content on the internet that most average viewers don't want to sort through. People don't want to go into YouTube and sit there and find their favorite videos or through blogs and things like that. So what you have now is kind of a shift where people are, instead of going and looking for the best content, they're on Facebook, or they're on Instagram, or they're on Twitter, or they're on Reddit, and they're following their favorite pages and having the best content catered to them just fed to them on these pages. They just scroll, they look, and that's basically it. So essentially, this kind of has created a new actor in the attention markets. These people are called content curators. Content curators are pretty much those who influence attention. They build a followership, you know, it could be 200,000 followers, it could be 1 million followers, whatever it is, and they go out and they find the best quality content catered to their specific audience, and they feed them that content. And then those viewers are just following that content specifically. So my point there is kind of that with the shift in the way that, you know, online attention markets have been going, content curators are the main influencers online. So we said, if there's a way that we can kind of capture those content curators and partner with them and essentially kind of exposing people to virtual reality, that we may be able to address that issue of virtual reality adoption and actually drive users to our platform. And so we developed a signal token, which Dylan can probably expand on.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, as Nick mentioned, you know, we've developed Signal Token, which is right now planned to be an ERC20 token. We have our developer, Bryn Bellamy. He is developing the code for it in the smart contract. We do have plans in the future, as the company develops and as blockchain technologies develop, to update this token as new technologies come out. For example, it is planned to be an ERC20 token right now, but with the recent ERC223 development, if we feel like that is a stronger use at the time, you know, it may be developed as that. And as mentioned, as we go down the road, we'll be looking for those new opportunities and be updating that along with it. So to touch on like the use of it, as Nick was mentioning, the main use here is for signal tokens to be used by content curators in order to curate content on our platform. Ultimately, as we were mentioning, falling in line with our mission of delivering the best quality content to users. Now, when a curator uses a signal token, the way it'll work is they'll spin, let's say, one signal token on a video. And what that will allow them to do is receive a unique URL to where they can now share that video on to their audience and on their platforms, let's say on their Facebook page. When they do that, we'll be able to track the amount of viewers that they bring to our site, the engagement of those viewers, how they engage with the ads on our site, all these factors. And we'll track that and then pay that curator a portion of ad revenue in the same way that creators get paid ad revenue. So now this is opening up basically like a new model of, as Nick was saying, a new user to the attention market platform that actually gets paid, rewarded for the work that they do in the market.
Yeah, so the fundamental kind of idea behind it is that as a content curator, you can deploy a signal token into a virtual reality video on our platform. Now, that signal token may cost like 50 cents, for example. That 50 cents they deploy into that video would act kind of as like a cost of doing business, right? It's basically an investment they're making in that video. And when they do that, they're going to be generated a unique signal URL link. Now, whenever they share that link on whatever platform they have, when they share it with their followers, based on how much attention they can drive to that virtual reality video, they will earn a return of signal tokens. If they can drive enough attention, then they may make more than the 50 cents they originally deployed, potentially $5, $10, $1,000, wherever the market kind of goes. So some people will deploy a signal token and they won't be able to earn enough to break even on that token. Those people will not be incentivized to share virtual reality videos. But for those who have big enough follower bases and audiences, for them, essentially, by deploying a signal token, also known as SIGs, they are paying for the opportunity to generate a return on the content they share. And they're already sharing content, so now we're just kind of giving them an incentive to share virtual reality content, which is really where the power of signal tokens come in and kind of help Spectiv, you know, play our role in helping drive virtual reality adoption on a large scale. Now, as a note, something really interesting about this token is that if you're a content curator and you can drive 1,000 viewers to a Spective virtual reality video, it may earn you $5. Now, if you grow your follower base, you'll be able to drive more views to that video. Additionally, as virtual reality gets adopted on the mainstream level, right? So as people are out there buying more headsets and getting more integrated with the space, as a curator, you're going to be able to drive more views to that content because now more and more people are adopting it. So that's going to mean that that signal token is worth more to you. In other words, as the virtual reality industry grows and more people adopt virtual reality technology, the value of a signal token will inherently move alongside with the virtual reality industry. So this kind of attributes a long-term growing value to the signal token that we hope will kind of help incentivize curators to hold SIGs and to continue deploying them and sharing content and kind of just moving the industry forward. So signal tokens are basically a virtual reality token, helping drive the space and build a networking community around virtual reality.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's freaking in-depth and awesome. It's like definitely the next frontier. I mean, everyone, like, see, 10 years from now, everyone's going to be into virtual reality. So this is going to be right there in the middle of it. That's why I'm so excited about this project in particular.
Cool. Yeah.
It's very nice. Anything else?
So I'll just highlight a couple things, I guess, before we sign off. So first thing is that right now, we are, as I mentioned, in this process of setting all of this up with the proper legal structure. And we're doing that through our advising company, Sutton Stone, who is actually a strong team of lawyers that run that company. And what we're doing is actually very unique in that the way that ICOs are currently working in the world is that there actually is no set place in this world where they're technically legal. People are doing it in the best way that you can possibly do it and set it up as best as possible. But ultimately, there's nothing that is completely shielded or protected from hosting an ICO. I mean, running it as a U.S. company. So what we are doing is one of the advisors, James Duchene, he is from an island off the coast of Africa called Mauritius. And Mauritius, James Duchene is actually their representative in the U.S. So he has a very strong relationship with the government there, the banks in Mauritius. It's a small island, and he has a lot of influence there. So what he's done is introduce cryptocurrencies to this country, and he's really developing an atmosphere in Mauritius where cryptocurrencies are being adopted. They're starting to create smart cities that are going to run on cryptocurrencies. But further, they're actually passing legislation that allows ICOs to legitimately be legal. Like there's legislation that says this is legal, what this company is doing is okay, and we're going through that process of setting this up as a Mauritius company, legally running an ICO in a registered ICO like sandbox, basically. On a note I just want to make though, in regards to U.S. investors, we don't know yet what we're going to be able to do on that side. We expect that we're going to be able to accept U.S. investors, but there might be some caveats. For example, you might need to be an accredited investor. You're probably going to have to register with some form of ID and such. But that is just to comply with SEC rules and allow us to keep track of all the money that comes in and officially have that on record if we are ever asked or audited.
Yeah, and we'll have further details updated later on that. But just kind of one thing that we're really excited about is Mauritius, and there's been a lot of news about it lately. I think Cointelegraph recently made kind of an article about it. Is basically aiming to kind of become a thought leader in the cryptocurrency space, where they are, as Dylan mentioned, legally acknowledging ICOs as a formal process. So we're really excited to be working with Sutton Stone and kind of establishing our company and hosting our crowd sale through Mauritius. We think that it's definitely going to be really beneficial. And the guys that we're working with, Adam Richard and James Duchene, they've been extremely awesome. They've done a great job with the SALT.
Yeah, SALT lending.
Yeah, SALT lending, which has been a fantastic process, and we're really excited to be their second client. They're a really great group of guys, and we think that the crowd sale process is going to run really smoothly. And also, we've got code for the crowd sale for the smart contract coming pretty soon. We're excited to update people on that, and we hope people just sign up for our email list to stay updated for all of our big news.
And although we have had to push back the timeline of this, I think it's actually going to be a really good step for us for a number of reasons. One, it allows us to set this up correctly. Two, the volatility right now happening in the crypto atmosphere is expected to just continue getting even more volatile as August 1st approaches. And then 3, as Nick was mentioning, you know, we're developing code for the smart contract, but we've also started development on the actual Spective platform, and we just hired a new developer to start building that. And so we expect to have a demo of that out within the next month. And maybe by the end of the crowd sale in late October or mid-November, we might actually start to have a version, like an alpha version, that users might be able to start doing testing on. But we do expect to release a demo that users can at least interact with the site, watch videos on it, things like that, coming out within the next 1 to 2 months.
Yep.
Wow, fucking awesome.
So
Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna put the Slack in the comments. Join the community, and we're gonna have another. We don't have, it's not scheduled yet, but we're definitely gonna have another interview. Maybe a few more. Who knows? I'm up for it. Keep you guys updated on this awesome project, and yeah, thank you, Dylan.
Thank you.
Nick. Yep.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Later.
Alrighty.